Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here, episode 2, Behind the Machine, season 1. We have my next guest here with me today. She needs no introduction. I'm going to just say her name and let her do the talking. Chanel Rae, talk to the fans.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me, Mark.
Thank you for coming. It's been a long time coming, so let's get it started. I came up with this show and you came up in my head because you're somebody that has so many projects that you're working on, and you're somebody that I look at and you really inspire me because, you know, you're showing me that you don't need to stay in one lane. You can branch out and do whatever it is you set your mind to. So
Absolutely.
You know, talk to me about how you, first of all, tell people what you do.
Well, first, I like to call myself a brand manager, not just a publicist. If you look at my social media, you might say, oh, she's a publicist. Absolutely. I do public relations. Don't call me a PR. My job is public relations. But for most of my clients, especially my more legacy clients, if you will, and legacy to my own roster as well, I'm more of a brand manager, making sure that every platform that they have or different tangents of their own brand, I'm making sure that there's a cohesive message. I'm making sure that people not only are aware of those brands, but keep the perception of those brands high.
Yeah. Again, this show is called Behind the Machine, and the first time I met you through my first interview with Jim Jones. And if y'all don't know, I'm from Harlem, and if I get to talk to anybody from Dipset, I'm losing my mind. So first and foremost, thank you for opening that lane for me. But
No problem. I definitely knew that you were a star right away.
Thank
I
you.
can tell, because I interact with journalists so often, I can tell right away who's going to be a star in their own right, and you definitely gave me that vibe from your professionalism to the questions you ask. I can tell right away who to take serious as a writer, as a professional, and you were definitely that. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. I met you through the Legion Media Group. That's your company, right?
Yes. My partner Ian and I founded it in 2008. We did not. We didn't think we were going to do PR. Neither of us. I was writing since high school. He was on the sales side, and it was just something that, be honest, we fell into. The stock market crashed in '08, and we were asked by a bunch of different talent, whether it's DJs to fashion designers and whatnot, as we had just put on a fashion show in that summer at the Marriott in Times Square, and they asked us. Because it did so well press-wise, like USA Today, 17 Magazine, all the daily papers here in the city. And so they asked us right away if we could do PR for them. And we were like, this was just a little summer check. We were fresh out of college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we didn't really take that seriously. Yeah. And then, October came, and I lost my job at Ad Age. And he lost his job. We're like, maybe we should take this PR thing seriously. But like anything, I always tell people, know your craft before you do anything. We brought on another partner at the time. Her name was Sasha Thompson. And Sasha was doing PR for the Brooklyn Museum here. She came in, cleaned us up, gave us structure, organization, and showed us the official lay of the land, not just us, pretending we knew what we were doing. And so Sasha came and cleaned us up, and one client led to another.
You know, with you saying that you were in the writing world first, what was the hardest thing about making that transition from those two worlds? Because those are two different machines, the writing machine and then the public relations machine.
Well, I don't see them as two different. I only see what the public sees as different. To be a good publicist, you have to be a good writer. But I guess the adjustment was being on the other side of the red carpet. But I think that's only helped me. I know how to connect with writers like you because I was once those writers. I know what not to do, how not to annoy people, how to be polite and take care of the writers. I think, again, it's treat people how you want to be treated. So I always say what meant the most to me as a writer. So to me, the transition was simple, but at the same time, I guess the hurdle came with, being respected on that side, because now I'm peers with people that were pitching me. hopping over, it wasn't difficult for me, but I guess for other people, just to, am I seen as competition now? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with time, everything worked itself out.
What does it take to maintain? Because again, I said you were in the writing world, you were getting that going, and then you had a change of pace and you went to the PR world. So what does it take for you specifically, what does it take for you to maintain a machine?
Patience.
Okay.
Realizing that things don't happen overnight. The same way we expect our clients not to expect, the world as they retain us, but also knowing that we're not going to land the Beyoncés of the world immediately, as and it's literally one client after the next, and realizing that especially in what we do, your reputation is everything. Relationships matter, so it's just about keeping up with that.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you two questions. The hardest thing about maintaining the writing machine and the hardest thing about maintaining the PR machine.
To be honest, as a writer, and I'm sure my fellow writers in the room understand, is maintaining the paycheck. Writers do not get paid.
We don't.
Okay?
We don't.
So I knew right away that wasn't going to be my end all. It just so happened that I was forced to, because, I was writing for Ad Age, yes. I was freelancing for In Touch, but as the stock market crashed and things changed, started getting less assignments, and I'm sure the writers in the room know it's the same kind of effect as the pandemic had. It's less work, and then it's figuring out, or, in the new 2021 word, pivot, right? It's figuring out, well, what am I pivoting to, or what am I adding? How am I figuring out what's my next residual income? And hustling.
Yeah.
Only hustlers survive. Capo should have taught you that, right?
He definitely did. He definitely did. From my many conversations with him, I got so many gems with him.
Yeah.
When it comes to seeing a machine, again, I told you before we had this conversation that the public sees the final product. And at some point they see what goes on behind the scenes with vlogs or Instagram, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like, what's the biggest thing that you wish the public saw that y'all got to deal with, that people don't really understand?
That there's a lot of work to get to what's seen as the end product. That, people like my mother think all I do is party. Meanwhile, you couldn't pay me to go inside a nightclub, but that's what she thinks I do. She thinks I'm a promoter.
Yeah.
So it's letting people understand that there's more to public relations than partying, because that is the perception. But no, there's a lot that goes into it. It's figuring out, okay, if part of your job is event planning, what all went to have these checklists to make sure that event takes place, and then all the things that happen after. So I think people have a misunderstanding of the work that goes on just for one final product.
Now, I want to go into your past a little bit because, you made me read your bio, and
I sure did.
I'm finding stuff about her that I didn't even know about. And I've known you since 2018, I want to say?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. Going to your past, what made you, want to write?
I always knew I was going to write in some capacity. I started writing in my high school paper probably when I was a sophomore in high school. And it just became something that I was good at. I liked talking to people. I liked interviewing. I liked, doing all that stuff. But I also loved English. I loved reading. I love, social studies. It was just, to me, it was forming even early without realizing, forming a career for me without me even realizing. But I thought I was going to be the real life Olivia Pope. Chasing after, all the politicians in D.C., and now I'm here chasing rappers and DJs.
Well, you definitely made a track record for yourself, because you've definitely won awards. You've worked with prestigious places. Would you want to go back to that machine, the writing machine?
Eventually. I think it's definitely, as a writer, you always dream about writing a book. I think that's in the cards for me. Just not now, but eventually.
Yeah. I know you told me as well, after this, you want to go into movie writing.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
During college, I took comedy writing classes. I should have known then, because I really enjoyed that class. Again, from pivoting in 2020, that like maybe the content stuff is for me, and to start creating that. So yeah, I definitely see myself focusing on production moving forward.
You know, again, when I met you, I know the first time I met you, I was like, yo, I'm really gonna like this person because again, you work with Dipset, and you know, me coming from Harlem,
Some little 5'3" girl on the Apollo stage yelling at gangsters, telling them to get down off my stage. You mean that?
So tell me what it's like, you know, working with them, because the Dipset machine, legendary, iconic, history making, you know.
Well, I think first off, the beginning of how I met Jim, and this is why I always tell people, you network laterally, network, you know, side by side. Don't, you know, not saying that you shouldn't network up, but the relationships you make along the way matter so much. Shout out to DJ Drewski and Juhl Alpha. Andrew is my good friend, and we were on the grind at the same time. He was interning under Syph and, you know, and helping out. This is even before he started working with Angie, but, you know, just early on, we were interns basically, and I'm getting my footing as a publicist, and he actually was the one you should thank for getting Jim back in the studio.
Really?
So he convinces Jim to do a mixtape for him, and then of course now they want an event, and so Drewski's like, oh, let my publicist put together our event, and you know, so Jim starts talking to me or whatever, and I was like, oh Jim, okay, when are we doing this event? And he goes in 2 days, and I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, 2 days. So then, you know, so I hustle, put together the event, and after the event, he says, well, I guess you passed the test, baby girl. And I'm like, I guess it was a test, you know? But I say that to say Drewski was the one who co-signed me, if you will, to Jim. And then as Dipset got reunited, Cam asked me to help him out as well individually. So as the collective, I rep Dipset, and then also independently Jim and Cam. So, but again, it all leads from, you know, from your relationships that you meet along the way.
That's funny, because I'm gonna have to text Drewski now, because he basically kind of set this whole thing up for me to be able to talk to Jim if he put you on and whatnot. So that's dope.
How was it like? I mean, since then, and now it's been what, almost 8 years working with Capo. It's definitely a ride. I mean, I'm proud of their growth as a fan, first and foremost, which also is a full circle moment for me, because if you read my bio, you know, I interned at Def Jam, and they didn't even have an office yet, meaning, wow. So they didn't even have an office yet, and so we used to be in the conference room, Dipset, and Jim used to be, you know, heavily focused. He was the worker, and Juelz is super young, throwing spit bubbles at me. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, Syph was Cypher Sounds, but I keep saying Syphy, I call him Syph. Cypher Sounds was putting out Def Jamaica. So to work with them years later was just a full circle moment for me. Like, wait, what? Like, I was interning as these people were becoming, you know, stars in their own right.
As you said, you work very close with Jim. Jim, shout out to Jim, because I'm telling everybody right now, he's having the all-star second half of his career, and he's bodying a lot of people. Seeing what he's doing and how many like businesses he has, from Vamp Life to Saucy to the football team that he has a stake in.
And now the NFTs.
And
the TV.
And Quarantine Studios. We got to make sure, put that on blast too, because I know you sent me that email like, yo, we got to change this up. He the one that did it first.
Yeah. Let's get it right.
You feel me? So
don't be on the wrong side of history, people.
Right. So, you know, working so closely with a business savvy individual like him and a true born hustler like him, what's the most important things you take away from him that you put into your own machine?
One, that you never rely on today's check, because it could end at any moment. You worry about, well, what's next? That doesn't mean that you are, you know, forgetting about your current situations. It's about making sure, again, especially if and this goes not even for entrepreneurs, but just everyone dealing with, you know, what we have in this pandemic, making sure that you have multiple revenue streams. Like, you cannot rely, we do not live in our parents' day. We cannot, work for a company for 40 years. And, it's just making sure that you're always bringing in multiple sources of income. So that's one takeaway.
Yeah.
It's always hustling.
Yeah.
Smart, never hard.
And, again, doing this type of work that we do, as you said, the money doesn't last long. And you never know when you're going to get your next check again. But you can get a next check if you hustle, right? How do you work around and maintain not getting that check? Like, shit, I just missed a project or...
Saving.
Okay.
Saving. I'm a big saver. That's one thing people don't know about me. One, my credit is
spotless.
Me.
Okay, talk to them. Let them know.
But besides that, it's making sure that you are safe. My daddy taught me early. Shout out to my dad. He would give me allowance every week, but he would make sure that we were saving part of that allowance, And I think that's a key lesson for us overall, especially, again, bringing up the pandemic. But, knock on wood, I didn't have a lot of the financial worries that a lot of people had because I gave myself a cushion. And as much as, the year before, I had an impeccable year, probably made the most money I had in my entire life. But I didn't spend like I had the best year of my life. It doesn't mean you don't reward yourself. God forbid, you could be gone tomorrow. You need to enjoy your life.
I was going to say, you be out here going on vacation with your homegirls.
I'm going to Costa Rica next month.
You see what I'm saying?
Couple more weeks. Countdown. I think we're 4 weeks till Costa Rica.
Okay.
17 girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
They about to party out there.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
That mansion is crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
20-room mansion.
That's what I'm talking about. Wasn't you just in Miami a few weeks ago too?
Yes. Shout out to Chrissy. It was her 50th birthday.
Okay.
That one was work though. It was work, but a little
we still
play.
have fun. Now I want to talk to you about Legion Media Group because again, that's how I met you. Seeing where it's at from when you guys created it to where it is at now. You guys just named Carolyn to that new position. Shout out to her as well.
Yeah, shout out to my partner, Carolyn.
Talk about seeing it from as a seed to this big tree that it is now.
Again, it's sweat and blood. It's tears. It's a lot. Instagram didn't exist when we started it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Twitter did, but even that, Twitter didn't even have pictures yet. There was no hashtag.
I remember those days.
Yeah, it was like, we would come on and shout out to Low Key and Fox Files, but we would, every day our mission was to just randomly start talking about some ish to start a trending topic without a hashtag, okay? And so it was a lot of goofing around, if you will. But while we're goofing around, it's literally finding our footing and, how are we going to make our mark? And I say that generation of behind the scene hip hoppers, because we all, again, networking across. It's making sure that we made those connections and helped each other out at every single step of the way. Yeah. If it weren't for, the cool kids of Twitter, as we were once called on some of the blogs and all that, but all of these cool kids have great fucking jobs right now. Yeah. And we all helped each other and continue to do that. So it's kind of weird. It feels like a college class of our, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's
like seeing that yearbook.
Right.
Yeah.
That yearbook. So the yearbook of my generation coming into, behind the scenes in hip hop, we all took care of each other then. Everything from like the bloggers with their blog roles to other publicists that were on the grind. We still have our PR girl group chat, and Facebook PR groups and all that. But it's just about helping each other, like realizing you can't do this alone. A lot of things in this game is about ego, right? But when you put your ego aside and realizing, we can go get multiple bags if we did this together, instead of there's only but so much I could do by myself.
Coming up with your own company, you got to deal with the bullshit. And like, I'm glad you said egos as well. We work in a business where people got huge fucking egos.
Big ego.
You feel me?
Such a big ego.
You feel me? So how do you, and I'm sure you've came across probably people like this before. How do you work around those people who can't shake their own egos, that don't want to listen?
Karma has a way of humbling those people. I try to remember that not my mother didn't raise everyone. So I can only focus on what I can focus on, what is right in front of me and what I have control over. I'm a work in progress as far as like controlling my emotions, right?
We're human at the end of the day.
Because it gets cray. But I am proud to say that I don't let anyone change my morals, my values, or my character. I always say it. It's my name on the line. It's my reputation.
You know, that's also hard to do too, because we're in an industry and, you know, we come from environments where we don't have everything handed to us. When you get to a certain point in this industry, people just throwing shit at you. Wear this, promote this, whatever, whatever. How do you keep yourself balanced from losing yourself in this?
My family. Because at the end of the day, when I go home,
Yep.
my mother...
That Caribbean lifestyle,
Right.
I already know.
My dad don't know what the hell I'm doing. He don't care about nobody. What Jim Juhl? Who? What that? What that?
Yeah.
No. So my family is the one that keeps me, you know, grounded. And, you know, at the end of the day, I got nieces and nephew and, of course, my son. And they don't know shit about what we do. They just know, you know, it's about being loved. And that's it.
I'm Caribbean as well. I'm from Haiti, everybody. And Caribbeans don't believe in the music industry. They don't believe in working in the music industry. They want you to either be a doctor,
Lawyer, nurse,
priest,
teacher.
nun, a brother,
Doctor.
all of that. So
That's it. That's all they know.
that's all they know. And that's something I'm dealing with now. Like, you know, I'm making strides in this world right now. My mom's like, writing? What you writing for?
Right.
What the hell that
I
gonna
wear
do
that.
for you, boy?
Right.
Yeah, what you doing, boy? Like, so, like, how do you try to keep them believing that this is something I want to
You
do?
don't. You don't. You have to realize that at the end of the day, and this goes even for our non-Caribbean folk, our parents grew up in a different lifestyle than we did. They were able to put $10,000 on a deposit and buy a 4-bedroom house. That shit don't exist for us.
It doesn't.
So what I've learned, and I'm still learning, again, I'm a work in progress, is to again focus on what's in front of me. Keeping my parents appeased of just knowing that they ain't gotta lend me no money, that at least I'm taking care of myself and my child without any help from them. If they want to help, sure, as grandparents, right? But they don't have to. That is where I am learning to live with that comfort, because and again, still work in progress. I think especially as Caribbean parents, they put so much pressure on us to make sure that we are making them proud, right? And so that in turn puts a lot of pressure on us.
Yeah.
And I still am learning how to deal with that. Like, all I ever want to do is make my parents proud, and I don't feel like I get that acknowledgement from them. This is becoming like a therapy session, but besides
We're here for it. We're here for it.
no,
Let's go.
but so what I'm learning right now is that I have to make myself proud. I have to make sure that I am making myself proud, because I'm sure they are proud of me. But again, they're Caribbean folks, so we only gonna hear about it when we overhear them talking to their friends. They ain't gonna tell us that, right?
all.
However, it's knowing that at least, again, it's making myself proud, and knowing that I don't have to ask them. It's very nice when you know we're gifted, but as long as I don't have to ask my parents for help, I think I've done enough. So again, even as an adult, I think that you just have to learn to not put that pressure on, that parental unit pressure, not feel it as much, as heavily as sometimes it feels. My mother's never going to understand what I do. I'm going with that. She just knows to take pictures.
That's funny, because I had that conversation with my mom today, and she's like, oh, so you doing your thing with the writing, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, all right, you got insurance? I'm like, Ma, chill. Like, nah, boy, do you have insurance? Because they not giving you this. You get a city job, whatever.
Oh, yeah. No, they will put that pension talk on you heavy.
Hell yeah.
Yes, but again, it's understanding that was the time they came in. And no matter how much you want to argue with them, or, you know, no, it's a different time. And you just smile and shake your head.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Make them happy. Once you leave, you go back to what you was doing.
Right.
And, you know, I'm glad you're kind of talking about this generational thing because, you know, the game back in the day was not this what it is right now. I have this conversation with everybody now, like, we're seeing a weird transition where this generation is understanding that they don't need to work for nobody. Seeing how these kids are working now, what is it that admires you about this generation that you wish was there when you was coming up?
Oh, that's a good question. If I would have had the tools that these kids have now, I feel like I'd probably be rich already. No, like I was the kid in school that sold whatever I could, from blow pops to even one summer I worked at a health clinic and they gave me like boxes of condoms to give out at school. Yeah, right. For $4. Like, you know. Yeah. I was that kid, so I was always selling something.
Yeah.
So I'd probably been rich already. If I had social media, man, you couldn't tell me nothing.
It's crazy because it's like we're really seeing these kids being their own business people. And it's a beautiful thing to see because back then, people were just trying to figure it out.
No, absolutely. And I think as, especially for the culture, that's just, you know, again, we talked about what our parents, you know, how they had it. But to see them knowing that, okay, well, no, they got to hustle from that young age and, you know, and doing all that now that, again, I wish I had those tools. I think it's dope.
And, you know, another thing that I admire about you as well is that, you know, you have a beautiful son. With him being your son and, you know, you seeing what this world is and you seeing how much information gets to these kids, what is the most important thing about that you want to instill in him as he's growing up?
To be kind. To be kind, to be compassionate, to be empathetic, and to be independent. I pray every day. Please help me to help Chase to be independent, kind, and caring. Because I think if you are independent and you're caring and you're compassionate, good things will come to you. I don't ever worry about what somebody else does to me because I feel like as long as I'm putting the good karma out there, God gonna take care of me.
Exactly. What if he came to you and was like, Mommy, I want to be in the music industry? Would you let him do it? Knowing how crazy it gets?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe because I know my son already and he's only about to be 6. But from his personality, I knew it'd have to be something on the tech side. Like he's super math person.
Yeah.
I don't really see the music thing in him already, so it's hard for me to answer that. But I'd be supportive as long as he showed me that he had the hustle, because that's the difference. A lot of people want to be in this game, but they don't really want to play. They just want to win.
That's a fact. Yeah.
You like, nah, this ain't the lotto, kid. You got to play.
Yeah.
You got to play and you got to figure out the right moves to get you to the other side. So I'd have to see and believe in his hustle.
You know, what you talking about, you know, this game is basically a jungle and you got to play to survive. Talk about a moment where you felt like the machine was probably going to fall apart.
There's a certain person that I rep before that is a mega star. I was responsible for this person's first placements, for writers to take them seriously as an artist. And we definitely, I don't want to say got into it. It definitely wasn't that serious. But it was a respect thing. And I knew that I could no longer work with this person because what you're not going to do is disrespect me. So it was a decision that I had to make. Because remember, I told you guys in the beginning, everything is about, it's going to take me longer to get there or to win. But when I do win, I'm going to bring my character, my morals, and my values with me. So what you're not going to do is jeopardize that for me. What my mama said, nobody send your soul, right? Nobody going to send my soul. So I told myself, and I remember this day like it was yesterday, I called Ian. I say, Ian, this girl just disrespected me. Now, I'm telling you right now, I'm making a conscious decision that, yes, this girl's about to be a superstar. And I'm not working with her. And he got my back, like as a partner. But you have to respect that when you have a partner in a business, your decisions affect the whole company. How you carry yourself affects the whole company. So I could have either went off or had somebody continue to disrespect me, move forward with that relationship or client, and then not be happy with myself, not been able to be productive, and then lose myself along the way. I had to choose me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Maybe I would have been, rich by now.
Yeah.
But
there's the whole integrity thing behind it.
Absolutely.
And having respect for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that person still respects me to this day. Because if there's mutual respect there. It was an understanding.
Yeah.
You could tell right away if it's beef if somebody unfollows you. We still follow each other.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. So
I'm
y'all
not on the
still social
blacklist.
media friends.
Right. I'm not on the blacklist.
Okay. Again, Chanel, you have so much that you do. You're very inspiring. I admire everything that you do. What's the future plans for you?
I'm always consider myself a dot connector. And so it's always about growing the company, but realizing to grow the company means we need more people on board. And that's another reason we call ourselves Team Legion, because there's no way I could do it myself. I can't be in Miami with Cam, in Jersey with Drewski, or in LA with Saif. Like, first and foremost, I'm a mom. So, it's not spreading yourself out too thin and realizing, well, there's only so much that personally I can take on. But what if we had a team? What if this team is growing?
Yeah.
So we are constantly hiring. We are constantly taking on new clients. We are constantly growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
Eventually, I want to be retired and forever be on somebody's beach.
I hear that.
Not just every other month.
Yeah. And there's something too that I want to uplift as well. You're somebody that says that you're the publicist for the writers. I never told you this, but like I was so fortunate that you gave me that call and you was like, yo, we performing at Yams Day today. I'm gonna have you shadow Jim. Do you want to do it? When I tell you, after we got off that phone call, Chanel, I was jumping up all over the place like, yo.
I don't even remember doing that, by the way. I remember you came, but I don't remember calling you.
Yeah. You was like, yo, we got Jim. We're performing at Yams Day. You're going to be on stage with him. You're going to follow him, whatever. When I heard that came at a time where it was like, and you know how this game is. Publicists fuck with who they want to fuck with. You know what I mean? And you have a lot of publicists that come to you be like, yo, you dope. Yo, let's whatever. And then you don't hear from them again.
Nah, I make sure I check on everybody.
And that's
I check on
thing,
my people.
Yeah, that's one thing I appreciate about you, because you opened the door for me that made me understand, like, yo, I got to the Barclay stage with like 2-3 years under my belt. That opened my eyes to be like, oh shit, what the fuck else can I do?
Aw.
And not for real, Chanel. Nah.
And shout out to, it's funny because, again, when I see people, I see them as people first. That's the difference. And I think that as a publicist, the same way, you should have a recognition of when the star walks into the room. I know the star writers when they walk into a room. Actually, in another interview, shout out to Arden over here. And it wasn't even an interview. It was a panel I just did.
Yeah.
And I gave an example about Arden to the room, because I said, Arden is somebody that would come to SOBs. And for those that don't know, I also do PR for Hot 97 itself. So not just independently with some of the DJs, but for the station. And Hot 97 Who's Next does, at the time, a monthly showcase. And Arden came every single week. And a lot of the times, it would be difficult to try to get some of the talent to do interviews with Arden. I don't even mean the Hot 97 people, but the artists on stage. And so I would try my best to get whatever interviews that I could to possibly let Arden do, because I can tell right away that this person is going to be somebody, the professionalism, the questions that are asked, I can tell the star in the room right away. So anything I can do to help those type of writers, I will. And I brought him up in the panel, I said, because, it's mostly artists in the room, and of course they want to work with me and yada. Yeah. I said, here's the thing. Y'all beg for interviews at this stage of the game. And then when you get to, to a certain level, now you don't want to talk to the Ardens in the room because you've never heard of their podcast or you never heard of their blog. But guess what? I said, do you know where my boy Arden writes for right now? Fucking Billboard.
Shout out to
Arden because like I said, I know a star when I see one. So a writing star, a journalist, and if you want to sit here and beg me to now get you an interview with Arden when I was telling you to go speak to his ass downstairs at SOBs and you didn't give a shit, no better.
And, you know, that's something I'm glad that, you know, you spotted in me. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn because I'm the type of person that, like, I'll have so much confidence in myself that I'll think I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet.
You should. I hate the fact that people want to dumb that down. Hova's taught us a long time. No, haters want you to be humble. I think I wrote the other day, like, yo, just because you want to dim my light don't mean your light going to shine brighter. Sweetheart, I'm always going to be good. I don't care if I worked at Burger King. I'm going to be the best damn Burger King burger flipper in Burger King.
That's a fact.
You understand?
Yeah.
No, but that has nothing to do. See, the misconception is that by putting down someone else's or turning down someone else's flame means that theirs is going to shine brighter or light higher. Nah, that ain't got shit to do with me. So I will always like give as much to someone else as I possibly can because it ain't got shit to do what's meant for me is meant for me. Sometimes people are so focused at what is the win for them that they don't give a shit what else is going on. Another example, yes, I have a lot of content coming out, you know, this month or even last month, and you know, I realized that, oh wait, I haven't really done much with the source right now or whatever. So I was like, let me hit up my people at the source. And then when I realized, oh wait, freaking one of the writers, shout out to Shabi, he's in the hospital. Like Londell is dealing with his daughter going to college and stuff like that. It's like, again, people have lives, dog. People have lives and they have their own shit. So instead of me hitting up Sean for a damn post, yo, are you good? How's your healing? Like thinking about people first. Like I'll never forget, somebody had asked me to hit up Carl for them because Carl's not being responsive. I said, dog, did you know that Carl's dad just died?
Yo, oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up.
I said, did you know that? Did you know that his dad died? Okay? Yo. Nobody gives a shit about your little artist right now.
Yo,
treat people like people. That is the golden rule. Treat people like people.
Yeah. That whole era was crazy. And shout out Carl. A lot of you probably know or may not know he's my cousin, but that time was crazy too because I was next to him through all that, and it was like the industry kept moving, and they hitting him up like yo, whatever, and it's like yo, chill, like you know what I mean, like relax. I had people hitting me up like yo, is Carl? Yeah, is Carl good? All right, can you let him know that I'm like, nah, chill. Like,
nah, but again, people don't see that, and I maybe it's because I've lost so many, and it's me, so I'm kind of in the emotional state. Chinks got arrested dead. He passed in May 17th, and he's the godfather of my son. And he's not the only person I've lost in my life, but that one was so sudden. It had such an impact on me. And realizing that, like, yo, and I guess because I was an adult when that happened, opposed to some of the other family members and stuff that I've lost as growing up. But I think what people don't realize when you're mourning, it's not just about that funeral. And then when the funeral is done,
it's a whole process.
That's when, you're good now. No. That's when the noise stops and all you have is thinking about yourself.
You have to
because
deal with it.
Nobody gives a shit after the funeral. You know what I'm saying? And realizing that, and again, just talking to people as a person. Carl and I have regular check-ins that don't have anything to do with work. Are you good? Are you good? What can I help you with? What can I help you with? Not what, I have going on. Yeah, that's cool. But what can I help you with?
That's so important too, because, the last person we had here, they said the most important thing that you can ask a person is not even hello. It's how are you? Because nobody's asking that.
Or are they asking it just to ask?
Just to ask. But they don't really care. Like, they be like, yo, how are you? Oh, word? All right, cool. So let's talk about this. Like, nah, you got to be like, yo, how are you? Oh, that's what you doing? Yo, let me try to offer some help to...
And not when you need it. When there's downtime. I have a golden rule. If someone comes across my mind just randomly, I'm gonna text them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not good at texting back, but
You made the effort.
yes.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. That's dope, Chanel. What are you most proud about with your overall machine?
That we're still here. That we're still here. A lot of my counterparts when we first started Legion, they're not here anymore. They're off doing other things, which I think, it's not a bad thing. It's however, like, we realized right away that as much as I go hard, that for all of my clients.
Yeah.
But I always told myself, I'm never going to wave nobody else's flag higher than I wave my own. These clients can fire you. These
replace you just as fast.
You know what I'm saying? They can go to jail. We've known that happened to another client of mine. At the end of the day, I have to stand behind my own logo. My own. No one can fire me. You understand? No one can, yes, I can die, but when that happens, and you know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's realizing that I have to take care of me first. When, they tell you on the plane not to assist someone else with their mask before you put your own mask on, that's what you have to remember. That doesn't mean be selfish. When you take care, it's called self-care, self-love, all of those things, because even as a parent, if I'm not good emotionally or physically, how the hell can I take care of my son?
Yeah.
Can't happen. Yeah. You have to take care of you first.
Yeah, you got to be the one to put the key in the ignition. Yeah, I hear that. My last question for you, and I probably asked you this before because you said patience, but I want to ask you again on a more deeper perspective. What's the most important thing about making sure that your machine is running well, the engine ain't busted, the cars is full tire, air in it and all that? Sometimes you got to stop to regroup.
Even 2 months ago, we stopped taking on new clients because we realized the machine wasn't running like a machine. We can't, if it's not running like a machine and we have to stop and reinvent the wheel every single time we have a new client, that's the issue. So it's figuring out, well, what works, what doesn't work. Before everything blows, like you said, okay, making sure that, before the check engine light comes on, did you change the oil? Did you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All those things. So figuring out, all right, well, before, what were the problems that we've had in the past to make sure that they are not happening again, or what can we do to prevent these from happening forward? And it's a lot of self-analysis. When you have a company or even what you're doing, independently with whatever your industry you're in, what has been working for me? Stop and do a checklist every quarter. Okay, in this past 3 months, what worked well for me? Let me do more of that. Wait, what didn't work? Oh, wait, I stopped doing this and that was helpful. Whether it's even as simple as meditating when you first wake up. If that worked for you, then go back to doing that. Again, you have to be well to do well. I'm gonna let you have the platform to talk to the fans, let them know where they can follow you, where they can find you. At PQ Chanel on everything. And if that's the one piece of free advice I will tell all of you, make sure that you are the same name on every social media platform. I don't want to hear that you are, run fast girl at on Twitter and then, Coco Chanel on Instagram. Make sure if I do my Google, I will find you. Yeah, because we ain't trying to search for y'all with all these different names and different, no. Branding is key. Make sure it all connects. Yeah. Behind the machine, the best advice she'll give you. Hey. Branding. Keep your names the same on each one. It's free. That's a free one for you. It's free. $3.99. We giving y'all game.